Hi there, this is Mrs. Rusnak. Today I'm going to teach you how to do vital signs, pulse, and respiration. All right, the only thing that you really need is you possibly need a watch unless you have a clock that's nearby, and then you need a recording sheet and a writing utensil. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sanitize my hands, rub this all over, make sure it's dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and enter the resident's room and introduce myself. Knock, knock. Hi, Mrs. Hauser, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm Amy, I'm your STNA. I'm gonna go ahead and take your pulse and your respirations, okay? All right, I'm gonna make sure that this is Mrs. Hauser, which it is. The next thing I'm gonna do is, I'm kind of tall. You could choose to raise your bed up or not, it is up to you. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna raise the bed up right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and reach down for her radial pulse, which if you follow her thumb down, there's like a little groove in the wrist, and it's typically going to be right there. Sometimes people are a little bit more difficult to feel, but most of them, if you follow the thumb down, you'll find it. You do not want to take a pulse with your thumb because you have a pulse in your thumb. So you want it to be either your index finger and your middle finger or one of each. Meaning like sometimes I just use my index finger, sometimes I just use my middle finger depending, and sometimes I use both, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to count her pulse for 1 full minute. And you have to tell the RN, the person that's testing you, the tester, when you start and when you stop, all right? And then I'm gonna go ahead, right after I do that, I'm gonna take a mental note of how many beats she had for her pulse. And then I'm gonna go ahead and keep my hand on her wrist, pretending like I'm doing her pulse, and I'm gonna start counting her respirations for 1 full minute. I'm going to tell the instructor or the tester when I started and when I stopped, okay? And this might be embarrassing to to a resident, so I'm going to go ahead also and pull my privacy drape, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and find her radial pulse. I'm going to look up at my clock, and I'm going to start counting. I'm going to tell the tester. Okay, I'm not gonna wait for the video for a full minute. I'm gonna pretend like the full minute is up, and then I'm gonna tell the tester I now have stopped counting my pulse and make a mental note. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tell my tester I have begun taking my respirations. So I am kind of pretending like I'm still taking the pulse, but I'm watching the rise and fall of the resident's chest. Sometimes they are stomach breathers, so it's easier to watch their stomach, but most of the time their chest will rise and fall. And when it goes up and down, that's 1. Up and down, that's 2. So after that full minute is up, I'm going to go ahead and tell the RN assessor I am done taking the respirations. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and probably tell the resident what her pulse was, what her respirations were. Your pulse was 68 and your respirations were 16, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and take my recording sheet and I'll go ahead and record that information onto my recording sheet. And then I want to make sure that everything is back in place for the resident. You have your call light, Mrs. Hauser.
Yep.
Do you need anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, if you need anything, you give us a call, okay?
Yep.
And then I'm going to go ahead and leave the resident's room. And before I leave, I want to go ahead and open the privacy curtain. And then the last thing is I'm going to sanitize my hands. Thank you.